Astral Aegis, written by Sylvac. Chapter 11. Rocks. 11 recruits. That's all that's left so far after another one decided to give up before his turn came up during the interviews. With just barely over half the original amount gone in just one day, some ponies would consider this to be a major problem. I, on the other hoof, consider this to be a great success of weeding out those that wouldn't make it in the long run. With my potential squad assembled before me outside the library, the majority of them scowling at me, I said,
"Congratulations, every pony! We got rid of the ponies that would only have dragged us down. So far, you lot seem to be the ponies best suited for this squad. So, weeding time is over. It's time for me to give you all some actual details on the line of work you're signing up for, which we will discuss inside the library. Don't need every pony in town to know. Yet."
Judging by how every pony's ears perked up and their faces bore less hatred towards me, I think this lightened up their mood a bit as we headed inside Twilight's library. They're not going to like what's coming then, I thought to myself as I took a seat in front of the group.
Okay, I personally don't like speeches, so I'll keep this short. I'm an alien that came to Equus by accident while I was traveling from one dimension to another. This occurred due to an incident that caused Equus's natural dimensional barrier to be damaged. After a period of time, I aided the princesses with my limited knowledge on dimensions, which resulted in the barrier being repaired. However, some things have come through, and odds are some interdimensional organizations that have taken notice of these events. Hence, Equus will have future dimensional issues, and this squad is being made in case those that contact our world are hostile or intend to take advantage of this world. Which I have to say is quite probable, though I don't know when Equus will be truly discovered. Could be months, years, or centuries before an interdimensional force discovers us. Regardless, the princesses and I believe that we should be ready for the worst.
With my speech finished, I was catching my breath as I looked at the typical reaction from any pony hearing this. All of them were staring wide-eyed at me, a few with slack jaws. Before any of the recruits could gather their wits, I continued.
Now, I know some of you are wondering why my training methods are so, well, abnormal and what some may be thinking cruel. In reality, it is better than facing what I have faced without any experience. It was not pretty. So to make clear how important each part of my training is to you all, each part is meant to teach you something or train you in a way that will help keep you alive in the various kinds of problems we may encounter in the future. Does every pony understand?
Receiving blank stares from the lot, I simply sighed before I turned to Silver to say,
Once their brains start working again, bring them to that large hill outside the northern outskirts of town. I have something set up to finish up today's training.
Surprised that little revelation stopped their brains for that long. I wonder how long Silver was out when he first heard of this. I thought to myself as I saw Silver leading the small group to my chosen hill. Indicating for the recruits to stay at the bottom of the hill, Silver took his spot beside me with Twilight off to the side observing us still as I said,
Well, seeing that you recovered from knowing the true purpose of this squad, does any pony have anything to say about that before we continue with training?
Only receiving confused mumbling from a couple of them, I decided to move on.
Alright then, time for the next phase of our training. I'll give you all to the count of 10 before we start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10!
Before I lit my horn up with my magic, as my recruits tried to scramble in an effort to be ready for whatever I was going to toss at them. Which, in this case, was literal as I levitated up a few watermelon-sized rocks. Turned out that after getting my cutie mark, I somehow got a boost to my magical power, making levitating so much easier for me. However, just as I was about to toss them down the hill, a lavender aura grabbed hold of them, causing me to shoot a glare at Twilight.
What do you think you're doing?
Twilight shrieked as she glared back at me.
It's called a training exercise where I throw rocks at my recruits and see how they react. Besides, I thought you were here only to observe, not to interfere.
I bluntly replied, noting that Silver was just darting his eyes back and forth between us. Apparently, he couldn't choose whether to back up a princess or his boss that the princess assigned him to.
Because I don't see the point in a training exercise that has to involve throwing rocks that can break bones. There is a point. This shows me how they react to large incoming objects and how they would react to a pony being injured or suffering a broken bone.
I yelled back as I stomped a hoof.
Interdimensional travel is too random to predict without pros being sent first, which is often not done for folk like me. Everything that I throw at my recruits is relevant to their training and is a softer copy of what I have faced.
Ears folded against her head, Twilight was cowed by my anger as she replied.
I'm sorry, I just thought you were being needlessly mean to them like you were in the morning.
Sighing, I dragged a hoof over my face as I said,
Twilight, no matter what I do to my recruits, it is not my intention to be mean to them. Sure, I can be too harmful to them, but I need to judge how they react to it, and I'm not going to hold back due to just how dangerous this squad will be for them. Ponies will get hurt, so it is best that they deal with it now when they're training early on so they can decide whether to stay or not instead of the future and potentially waste every pony's time.
So, you plan things to be as efficient as possible?
That's the whole point, otherwise I'll be wasting time. So do you still have any issues in regards to my training methods?
Looking down with shame plastered on her face, Twilight answered,
Yeah, I won't interrupt them again like that.
Sighing, I replied,
Twilight, I'm not angry with you. I know it that you interfered, yeah, but not mad when you just have the best intentions at heart.
This cheered Twilight up as I turned my attention back on the recruits, whom for some strange reason grouped together again. At the lead of the group, Golden Sword asked, Does this mean this training exercise is over? Instead of even giving him a response, I just engulfed the rocks again with my magic and tossed them at the clumped together group. These ponies never learn, I thought to myself as I kept tossing rocks at the scattering group from a rather large pile that I hid behind a hill. Well, I don't think the staff at the Ponyville Hospital will like me anytime soon, I thought to myself after leaving the place with about a third of my recruits, which consisted of unicorns and pegasi. Apparently, Earth ponies are built to be tougher or something. Regardless, those who ended up with serious injuries were protesting like fools, to which I simply offered them a simple deal. They can break one of my legs if they so truly desire. With the fact that I said it in a dead serious tone and that no pony would really want to harm a filly, that pretty much shut up the whiners. Though part of the reason they complained so much was the fact that I forced them to go to the hospital without any aid from any pony. My reasoning though was, since I had to deal with injuries on my own in my former life, odds are they will face the same issues too. Moving on, turned out Twilight can't show up for tomorrow's training session. It seemed that the Crusaders are now having private lessons with Twilight now, which is actually a better idea than having them trying to follow in my own footsteps by trying to learn what skills I possess. Though I wonder if they are just following my hoofsteps on how I got my own cutie mark, which started out with me learning magic from Twilight. Anyways, it was afternoon when I let the remaining recruits have the day to themselves as I was making note of any positive aspects that any of them had shown, which was pathetically few. This led me to start planning tomorrow's training schedule when Spike ran down the stairs carrying a letter as he said, Aether, you got a letter from Princess Celestia!
Really? It's been barely past a week now.
I replied as I grabbed the letter with my magic.
Dear Aether, while I know that you have just started training your squad, your presence in Canterlot is needed. The Royal Guard has finally found and gathered all the materials that were expelled from the portal, and we have furthermore gathered and stored all the Marrowless shards in a safe place. Due to the unknown dangers the material could possess, I have determined that without your advice we can't be certain if they should be kept in Canterlot or stored in some region far from population centers. While you are here, I have to inform you that there is a possibility that you may meet some members of the nobility. Hopefully, this warning will help you prepare for any possible interactions you may have with them. Hence, in order to attract less attention from them, you will be traveling here by train instead of chariot. I have managed to set up tomorrow's morning's train to have a private car for your needs. Princess Celestia. Well, this is a short letter and an annoyance,
I commented after reading out loud its contents.
I don't want to give my recruits a day off so soon.
Well, while the injured recruits would be released tomorrow, a day off would help ensure that they are fully healed. Though if you want them to be training still, I could oversee your planned exercises tomorrow, madam. Silver offered. Rubbing a hoof against my chin, I was pondering my options when an idea came to mind.
Hey, would a private train car have enough room for my recruits?
Yes, but why are you Wait, you're going to bring the squad along with you?
That's the plan. I'd rather keep my eyes on them when they're training so I can see what each pony can do.
But what's the point of bringing them to Canterlot if you can't train them? Spike asked as he scratched his head in confusion.
Oh, it's just so I can get to know my recruits better. It also helps to show them some of the stuff they may come across.
I calmly replied.
Lastly, I want to see if I could have them beat up any nobles that annoy me too much.
I added with a grin, to which the two just groaned and face-hooved, or in Spike's case, face-palmed. Oh boy, I like where this is going, especially if they meet Blue Blood. I really want to see if he can get all of his recruits to just gang up on that guy. He would surely deserve it, especially since his condescending attitude is but a given for sure. But anywho, I hope you enjoyed this story, and well, I'll see you in the next one. Until then, bye bye!